A theme park thrill ride involves a tower and a carriage that rapidly moves passengers up and down along a vertical axis, as shown in the figure over there. The carriage is lifted to the top of the tower, then released to move down the tower. The ride involves 10 controlled bounces from the highest point to the lowest point and back to the highest point. So starts up here, down, up, and nothing in between. The point X is located at the bottom of the carriage. Okay. The height of X above the ground in feet can be modeled by the periodic function h. So h of t is going to equal something. At time t equals 0 seconds, X is at its highest point of 120 feet. Okay. Then the lowest point is when it's 20 feet above the ground. And the next time X hits the highest point, it's at 8 seconds. So let's try to draw this out the best that we can. Okay. We care about 120 feet. We care about 20 feet. It starts at 120, hits the bottom, goes back up, and repeats itself a bunch of times. Okay. At 0, it's at its high point. It lands down here, and then it repeats itself every 8 seconds. So let's get rid of this thing that I put here, and let's just focus only on the picture right now. Right now, it peaks out at 120, starts at 120, bottoms out at 20, which means I have a middle point of, what would that be, 70? Which we see the 70 there. Okay, that gives me an altitude of 50. The period is 8. So if I were to look at a very basic version of a sinusoidal, I hate that word, function, it would be y equals a cos b of x. And since I'm not moving anything left to right, or bx, I'm not moving anything left to right. I also care about a plus c here. Okay. A has to do with my altitude. So the absolute value of A is my altitude. The period in this case is 8. The period is 2 pi over b. Now multiply both sides by b, divide both sides by 8, and then I would get b is equal to 2 pi over 8, which simplifies to pi over 4. Okay, so I have an A, I have a B. I used cosine. Why did I use cosine? Because cosine, when graphed normally, starts out at its peak and then goes like this. So this is a cosine function. C is going to be where the middle would be, which is 70. So when I put all of this together, I'm going to have y equals my altitude. My altitude is 50, so y equals 50. This is a cosine because it starts at its peak. This is going to be, b is going to be pi over 4. So t is what they want me to use. And then plus, and let me sneak this in here, plus 70, which gives me b. Now, I did this without using a calculator. It's important that you know that the picture is going to look like this. So if the picture looks like this, then what you can do is you can graph each one of these guys in a graphing calculator and see which picture on your graphing calculator matches the picture that I drew. But, you know, I'm a friggin' genius, so I'm just going to do it without a calculator. I'm a friggin' genius who can't spell, can barely talk correctly, but I know math good, and that's all that matters.